Hello, ladies and gentlemen. As always, I'm your host, Airsoft Al, the Commands Airsofter, who starts thinking too deeply about some things so you can ask the same questions, or maybe come up with the same answers. But today, that question is 3D printing the future of Airsoft? Well, the answer might be simple as a yes, but I want to dig a little deeper into that. So, before we begin, what is 3D printing? 3D printing is literally what it sounds like. It is printing a three-dimensional object or device or even tools to actually help out with everyday life for simple creation, art, or otherwise. And 3D printing, while still relatively new in comparison of how many years we've actually had it, it's something I think a lot of people need to start thinking about as what can it offer for Airsoft? To simply put, a lot. To dig a little deeper into that, let's start dissecting. While yes, everyone can already start popping up the comments section, SRU, 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 SRU! And yes, I know of SRU. Their kits are actually pretty nice, as well as now recently them coming out with a helmet. However, I think I'm going to dig into more or less the nerfing aspect of it, because Nerf can be the inspiration for what we can do in the future of Airsoft. With Nerf, they've created totally new blasters. They've created awesome new things. They've even created conversion kits to turn CO2 BB guns into Nerf blasters. Yes, that's right. They have done that. And I think we can take inspiration, especially to my 3D printers, for whom are seeing this on Facebook, or at least have been tagged on Facebook, can actually take inspiration from this. What do I mean by this? Well, the first aspect is obviously, what can 3D printing do for Airsoft? Besides kits that allow guns to take other magazines, like AKs being able to feed 5.56 style magazines, I believe we can do a lot more with that idea. Let's expand. My current Springer that's currently down because the magazine is gone is more or less my Type 95 Springer. Now this is something I've been actually toying around with and kind of an idea of if I had my own 3D printer. Would be actually making a magazine adapter which would go into the magwell here for it to be turned to a Type 97, being able to feed 5.56 style magazines. And I think we can go a little further with that. Taking Springers that can be upgraded, and yes, this one has been upgraded with a better spring, a redneck flat hop, because this does have a simple slide hop up like you would see on the X95 or any other Springers that actually have a simple hop up, and of course the longer inner barrel. With that magazine adapter, you could actually turn this into a Type 97, or even have the ability to have a rail up here through 3D printing. And this is something that's actually pretty nice. Expanding on magazines, we could actually make extended magazines for some guns that really don't have that kind of magazine capacity, and the magazines aren't exactly that good in terms of capacity. The one I'm talking about is the BAR Airsoft gun. And yes, the BAR AEG, while yes, is a good platform and has some good attributes, doesn't exactly have an extended magazine, or at least the extended banana-style magazine that we see in a lot of the more later developments, including the HCAR, which is the modern update to the BAR. Taking that and actually creating the 30-round magazine would be a good idea, but with the size and diameter of the 30-06 style, it could be a large mid-cap. And when I mean large mid-cap, I mean somewhere to the design of 135-round mid-cap, or even more because of the capacity. Or even creating a large capacity magazine high cap, in a sense. Having it work off either any of the design of stuff that we actually have in Airsoft right now in the current parts. Another good aspect of the design would actually be creating whole new gearboxes for economy-friendly Airsoft guns. Hear me out before you start laughing at my ass in the comments section and calling me an idiot. Hear me out. The SEMA Sig Sauer 552, or my bad, 553 AEG right here, the gearbox is lacking in some areas. But if you were to but because of how much space is in here, you could design a whole new gearbox for this thing through 3D printing and have it to where it's actually a better, AEG. And it would be good. Being able to swap it out for Tamiya style because of how large the battery compartment is up here. And yes, I mean large battery compartment because it is there. And having it to where it could work with a lot of other stuff. Again, the possibilities are there. It just takes someone with the right amount of brain power and the skill to design that gearbox to fit in here. Another good example, the X95. The X95 itself is an amazing economy-friendly AEG. The hop-up is good, the magazine well is good, and you could do a lot to it. There's a lot of possibilities that could be done to the MTAR here. I mean, people have already HPA'd these things, and yes, they have HPA'd them. One of my own viewers has actually sent me pictures of his, which was amazing, to say the least. But the barrel itself, not really that good, I'm afraid. Yes, it does have threading under here, which you have to melt off the glue of it to actually undo to expose the 14mm negative threading. But with 3D printing, you could actually redesign the gearbox itself so it's a lot better, much more powerful, because once again, the space back here has that ability to, while still retaining the same design. You could fully redesign the actual barrel to where, one, you have that exposed threading, and it doesn't split apart. To a degree, mind you. I mean, 3D printing is kind of a finicky thing, depending on the filament and how much goes into it. But the MTAR is a good example of possibilities that could be done to it. You could totally 3D print rails that could go on this. That would be a lot better. You could wholly turn this thing into something really good. And I mean that fully, because I can see the possibilities and the future of 3D printing that it can offer. Besides designing gearboxes that could be replacing the ones that are in here for something a lot more substantial, much more beefy, much better, there are other possibilities. And I mean that. Going back to springers, these you can see oodles of. But something that can be done with it is the fact that they can be upgraded to turn to actual pump snipers. Once again, 3D print a magazine adapter to where it can accept either 5.5 sticks, AK, or any other sort of mid-cap magazines or even high-cap magazines. 3D print a stock that's actually much more comfortable, much more sturdy than the pistol stock here, so you can actually get a better aim. 3D print a new rail mount system to which can go over it. The hop-up you don't have to mess with. The hop-up is good as is. But 3D print a new grip here, which can be a lot better. Again, the advent of 3D printing opens up possibilities that are there that I believe people aren't exactly seeing or haven't thought of. Besides me, of course. Another good example is, besides springers, AEGs are a good example. And yes, I did show the economy AEGs, but there are more examples out there besides AEGs. Gas guns, for example. As many of you know, I love revolvers. And Brain Exploder has already touched on this, making 3D print shells that can actually be acted as shotgun shells, turning your 357 into a smaller Taurus Judge. But I think we can go a little further than that. 3D printing whole new front ends, 3D printing whole new grips. The possibility of taking something like this and turning it into something even more amazing is there. And people just have to take it by the horns and see what they can do with it. I'm dead serious. You could take this and turn it into many different things through 3D printing, from either video games, Destiny, or otherwise. The realm of possibility is endless. It just takes someone with the skill to do it. Another good example with gas guns, and while yes, this is CO2, and I know many of my 3D printing friends who have been tagged in this will probably say in the comments section, or the actual Facebook post itself, limitations of it, or even come up with their own ideas, which I will be looking forward to that, by the way, will probably bring up some good points on why it's not impossible, just difficult. So I'd love to hear that. But another good example, I think it's something that a lot of us, especially those of us who play Fallout, can definitely get behind. That is taking the Desert Eagle and turning it into the 10mm pistol. Because once again, even though it's a cosmetic kit, it still would be something that would actually be great for the market. Because once again, This is literally something that could be done, or even taking the Desert Eagle upper and turning it into something really great. Again, the possibility is there, because if you look at the Fallout 4 mod, the 10mm pistol, or Fallout 3 10mm pistol, whichever name it goes under, you can see they took what was the Desert Eagle and turned it into the 10mm pistol from Fallout 3 and the past Fallouts. Or Fallout New Vegas, if you're one of those guys who says New Vegas is better than 3, which is objective, mind you. I mean in terms of guns and stuff, not really in terms of, like... Either way, though, that's a whole other video and a whole other can of worms I'm not going to get into. But, you get what I'm saying. Cosmetic kits, upgrades, better materials, better performances, the possibilities of what 3D printing can do is there. It just takes someone the skill to do it, or even the manpower. But aside from the Desert Eagle, cosmetic kits, revolvers, springers, all that, the possibility of creating whole new guns is what really intrigues me, because with the advent of 3D printing advanced to where it is now, and still has more to advance in the future, you could create whole new airsoft guns with it. And I mean that wholeheartedly. SRU, while yes creating kits, only kits mind you, has not created their own actual gun from the ground up. However, other companies have. In fact, there is one video from US Airsoft where someone made a complete whole sci-fi gun, fully injected molded. But I believe we can go one step further, actually creating whole new guns from the ground up. I mean, look at video games. While yes, some can basically say, okay, you know what, we can just use a base gun for this, that's totally fine. But like I said, there's a whole lot more that you can do. One of these things is actually looking at guns from many video games, be it Call of Duty, Battlefield, or any of the other games, and actually creating it with the parts we have on the market. And you can base it off of the V2 gearbox, because of course there's a oodles and oodles of aftermarket parts for V2s. Use the V2 gearbox as a base. Build up from it. Build around it. Create something that actually works, is actually good. Hell, you could create the H-car if you wanted, just from 3D printing, or even injected molding. And that is exactly what I'm trying to say, is that the possibilities are there. It just takes someone with the skill and the ability to do it. And aside from creating kits, whole new guns, otherwise, there are other possibilities. New hand grenades, which are spring-powered, whole new systems, whole new gearboxes, whole new barrels even, handguards, attachments, camera mounts, everything, folks! Literally. I'm saying this because it's true. The possibilities for 3D printing are endless. It just takes someone, like I said before, the skill, the knowledge, and the ability. And really, I think, personally, that Airsoft could and will advance through 3D printing, because that is the sport in a nutshell, is we are advancing and creating through new technologies that are available to us. So, that's my 2 cents. And to those of you out there who do 3D print, I say to you, let me know in the comments section down below if what I've said rings true, or if you could add your own 2 cents into it, into what 3D printing can do for Airsoft. And to my 3D printing friends out there who have created some awesome stuff, I'd like to hear from you. If any of my ideas rings true to you, and if you'd be willing to actually try some of the stuff I've said. And finally, to you my viewers, what do you think? Do you think 3D printing can offer oodles of possibilities and better upgrades or even improvements to Airsoft, especially economy-friendly guns? And do you think 3D printing will improve Airsoft? For better or for worse? And that's it. I've spoken my piece, and I leave you with that. Anyway, Thank you all for watching. As always, I've been Airsoft Al, the common man's airsofter who thinks way too deeply in stuff because my mind is wired that way. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what I do, consider liking, subscribing, hitting the notification, etc., etc. But if you would like to support the channel and what we do, would you kindly consider donating to the PayPal down below? Because it's folks like you that keep the lights on in the studio. As always, ladies and gentlemen, I've been Airsoft Al. And to those 3D printers out there who are the mavericks and, dare I say it, the Da Vinci's of our sport, keep designing, keep making those breakthroughs, and I look forward to what you create that changes the landscape of Airsoft forever. And as always, folks, see you next time. Later.